Today I'm interviewing Johan Granberg, who we have here.
Hello.
Who is a bar manager at Bishop Arms, here at Folkungagatan.
That's right.
On Söder. And today I've heard Johan presenting a bit about British bar or pub culture and Swedish pub culture, and I was gonna ask you to tell our viewers a bit about these two bar cultures and how what are the differences and how they have changed like these recent years. So why don't you tell us?
If you start with British pub culture, the latest 10 years has gone a really big change. There's been lots of pubs that have changed into bistros, but also started serving really excellent food in the last 5 to 10 years. It used to be said that you couldn't eat in an English pub if you ate anything else but crisps and nuts, peanuts.
Okay.
But now I went to London and ate in 14 different pubs in just about 8 days, and I was really satisfied every time I ate. It's good food, and it's changed a lot. So I think the British pub culture has changed towards more dinner guests early in the evening. Of course, there's people coming by having a pint after work, but then they go home, change, and go out to eat at a local pub.
And that also has a connection to housing in England.
Well, English kitchens are quite small.
Yeah.
The appliances aren't all that great. Usually when you buy an apartment, there's no stove, no fridges, anything. You have to buy it all yourself. So if you're a bit short of money, you spend the money going out to the pub and eat instead.
Yeah. So how is that different from Sweden?
In Sweden we have, when you move into a house or an apartment, there is already a full kitchen, everything you need to cook meals. We have an old tradition of inviting friends home and also eating dinner at home. It used to be that we didn't have all that many restaurants as well. It's changed a bit now in the last, started about 20, 30 years ago when I was accelerating, especially in Stockholm where it's, I think it's about 40% of the households are single households. And it's not all that fun to eat alone at home, so you go out with friends, either alone or with friends to eat at the local restaurant.
Yeah, but there's still this main trend of eating at home.
Still in Sweden, but it's slowly changing.
Okay, so what are some of the causes for the change? First in Britain, how come people are demanding better food when they are out?
Started demanding better food, and also when they started ban on smoking in pubs, the pubs lost a lot of customers. So they started looking for ways to earn back the customers, and they decided that good food can really make people come back. It started out with many pubs renting out the kitchen to other restaurateurs. There was early 2000s. There's a lot of pubs that serve Thai food, which is quite easy to cook in any kitchen. But it's changing back to more traditional English food now. You eat lamb in all variants, slow cooked, grilled, anything, meat, good fish. It's good food. And that's made people come back to eat at the pubs again.
So before this change, there was an alarming trend of pub death. Like you told me about 25 to 50%.
It depends on
down.
how you tell it, and how somewhere from 1/4 to half of the pubs have died out. Many of them that really died out has become shops, but also it's changed into bistro-style restaurants or pure restaurants. So it's hard to say how many pubs really have died.
Yeah. When did this decline start?
My early 80s it started, and as part of it was that the pub business was slow changing what they served. They served ales and bitters, but the younger generation wanted lagers, and lots of pubs were slow switching over, and also, as we talked about earlier, the food wasn't all that great in many places.
Yeah.
So people started going to other places now, and also when they started ban on smoking, a lot of people stopped going to the pub because they had to stand outside and smoke, so they could as well sit at home and drink beer, or in a park if it's summertime.
So, speaking of what you eat and what you drink, when you're saying the popularity of ales declined and more young people wanted just the lagers. You told me about this organization or something called CAMRA.
CAMRA is the Campaign for Real Ale, which is British Consumers Association for real ale or ales on draft. That they started working on preserving the ales. You could serve lager, but they started grading pubs, saying this pub serves good ale. Started giving out a good beer guide every year. But still, lager is, I think it's about 50. It used to be 60-65%. Now it's about 50 to 55% of all beers that served in pubs are lagers. It's slowly coming back to more ales, but it will probably never go more than 50% of ales anymore in England.
From what I've understood, just the one company, Guinness, is largely responsible for like most of the trends changing in ale consumption. They're doing a huge marketing job.
That's true, and also the Guinness was the first company to start serving cold or extra cold or ice cold beer. The Guinness in England was an attempt to try to lure the younger generation into drinking Guinness, so they started serving it lager temperatures. And now you can find almost every pub in England has several lagers that's ice cold and one or two ales that serve cold as well, which has switched around because English pub used to serve at cellar temperature, which is cool but it's not cold.
Okay. So here at Bishop Arms, how are you serving your Guinness or ales in general?
The Guinness is the original temperature, around 10 to 12 degrees.
Okay.
The ales are 12 to 14 degrees. Lagers are around 8 degrees.
Okay. And that's very strictly regulated from the manufacturers, or?
Not really. We decided.
Okay.
And it's also ale drinkers that drink traditional English ales in Sweden are traditional in their way of drinking, so they want the special temperature for their ales. They don't want cold ales.
Yeah, okay. I see. That's interesting. I didn't know about the temperatures that detailed.